Well, I'm at the seaside again, having a little bit of fun on the beach. This time I decided to do a little bit of off-the-cuff painting for maybe a junk journal. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with this little piece of film, but hopefully a project idea will grow out of it. But I'm sitting here and embarrassingly enough there is an artist sitting at the side doing something really fabulous. She's actually coming out and look to see what I'm doing. How embarrassing is that? But anyway, I'm enjoying it. It isn't going anywhere at the moment, but I'm listening to the seashore and just generally having a good time. We'll see where this goes. Home now, and a big welcome to new subscribers, and I hope you enjoy this. I think I have now decided I'm going to make a junk journal. Something really quick, make this a quick project. I've got an old book that was meant for pulping, intended for pulping. I've literally taken out this rubbish that I'm using at the moment to stick down from the recycle bin. So I'm just going to go with it. Now, you might be wondering, well, look, you've done that painting there. Why are you sticking bits on it? Well, it's all part of the layering system. I might keep some and I might not. I'm just going to play it all by ear and see where it goes. The background paper that I've painted is very weak, so I think I'm going to have to put several layers on it to firm it up a little bit. At the moment, I'm just trying to make shapes between the paper pieces, and hopefully save some of the coloured painting. I'm not doing a very good job at the moment. This lovely paper here, it's got lines of glue on it. As you can see, it's where it was stuck to some wrapping paper or delivery paper, I mean. And it's really lovely to use, very strong, and it actually looks as if it's been left to dry after being coffee dyed on a grill pan. So I'm going to carry on in this way and just layer up these pages to give them a little bit of strength. I'm keeping some of the original markings like this, original handwriting from the pages. I just think that adds a little bit of texture, a little bit more interest. So I'll carry on like this. You grab your coffee and we'll see what happens. I've now finished layering up. The page is dried and I've put as much paper down as I feel happy with. And it's a really nice, firm, stiff page at the moment. I'm a bit concerned about the centre bit being a bit weak, but I'll have to look at that later. This is the back and I'm just now flattening it out. Make sure it's lovely and flat. No creases in it. The next thing to do is to consider now the fabric. I love Hessian or burlap, as you know, so I found these and I'm going to use them. They've already been cut, so I'm quite pleased with this. I don't think I want any page or any bit of burlap larger than these, because they're going to be quite small, neat pages, and they will be this size, about half the size of an A4 sheet of paper, and I think that might fit on there just right. Yeah, not so much the little one, but the one that might be too small. So I'm going to go back to this one, and I think this just might be the ideal size to work on. So this will be the one that I start with first, and work out a few designs, some patterns. I'll probably have to do something about this frayed edge, maybe over sew it by hand or by machine, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Can't wait to work on it actually. In true keeping with junk journal, I've taken this out of the rag bag, and it's only what you can see here, and if I open it up, it's all holy where I've cut these pieces out before. I'm going to do some applique on the back of the Hessian, on the front of the Hessian, and first of all I'm going to fussy cut around these flowers, not all of them but some of them, and I'm going to take it from there. I think on the piece of Hessian that I showed you, I might be able to get maybe 2 flowers on. So these are the 2 flowers that I've now chosen. the yellow and the pink. I'm not sure which way to have them. I think that looks okay there. I might move them around a bit as I sew them. I'm not even sure if I'll get another flower in there. Yeah, I've got a feeling I could get another flower in there, or maybe go for some of the leaves that are there. I like the green leaves. There's two sets of green leaves there. There's a very dark green leaf, and there's also a nice light one. Having said that, that blue flower is quite nice, but I'm not quite sure. I think the best thing to do is just play around with this for a while and see what I come up with. But I think I'm erring on the side of the leaves at the moment. I'm going to cut the leaves out and see how they fit in, and see if they actually fit on the hessian. They might even be a bit too big. So I'm going to carry on cutting this out, and as soon as I've cut them out and arranged it, I'll get back and show you what I've done. So they're now cut out and I've put them in place. I quite like this arrangement. I'm putting the pins in to hold them down while I probably tack them in place. Right, yeah, that looks good. 3 big pins. I need to go around the edge, and I think I'm going to do that with a slow stitch or a running stitch, both the same stitch, and probably neat around the edge. It's a bit out of shape at the moment. I need to pull it back into shape. So that is now ready for some stitches. Now I've got a little bit carried away, and I have started the slow stitch or the running stitch. It's always a confusing term to use. I prefer running stitch unless I'm doing it mindfully. So I'm going around the petals with a lilac, and it's 3 strands, and it's my lovely big long needle, and I'm keeping the stitches small, and I'm just following around the edge of the flower. Now along here I have done a twisted, I've done a running stitch, and I've just looped over it. So you know what, I can't remember what it's called. If I remember what it's called, I'll stick it up there. And this one here, I've done exactly the same as I'm doing at the moment, but I've gone around it with a black thread. Now these are just straight stitches with French knots at the end of the stitch, and French knots, the red area inside French knots. I've also outlined, if you like, the petals inside with a red thread. I think the red looks particularly nice on there, so I'm quite pleased with that. It actually looks like speckling stitch, doesn't it, or seed stitch. But it isn't. I did actually follow the outline. Now I'm going to do exactly the same here all the way around, and then I should concentrate on the leaves. Before then though, I'm just going to knit back to the page. Page is now ready to have the hessian bit put on, but first I need to make sure the page is dry and it's in good condition. So what I'm doing to make this journal is a double page. Now I've made both pages here, and I'll be making all my pages the same way as I showed you when I did the first page. So all I'm doing, I'm going to get 2 pages that are finished, and I'm going to put them back to back. Now first of all, I have reinforced the spines, as you can see here, and I've only done that with a strip of paper on the back of each spine. So I folded them, make sure they fold nicely. You can see here both pages have spines, and I'm putting them now back to back, and I'm going to glue them together. I'll glue them with a nice strong glue so they just fit nicely, and then I'm going to leave them to dry and iron them. Well, I did iron them and they're nice and flat, so the next thing to do is secure the designs on each piece of hessian. I've actually turned the sound down here so you can't hear all this noise from the sewing machine, but I'm going to put the motifs on as I am now, and you can see I'm using a big stitch, and I'm going all the way around to applique, to apply the designs or the motifs in place, and I'm going to do this with the designs I have for every page. This one starts with the fish and is going to be machine sewn, but others are going to be hand sewn, so this really is about mixed media, and it's up to you whether you use your sewing machine or you do some hand stitchery. I've chosen to do both, but you may be happy just using your sewing machine or using hand sewing. It's entirely up to you and your style, and of course how much time you have as well. I've used a mixture on the sewing machine of zigzag stitches and straight stitches, and I've crossed over the straight stitches, I've gone backwards and forwards. I haven't just kept rigidly to the outline. I've even used different coloured thread to enhance what was already there in the applied fabric. So it's been really fun to do, and this piece I'm doing here is actually, I think, going to be one of my favourite pieces. Now I'm going to carry on doing this for each piece of hessian that I have for each page. Now not all the pages are going to have a hessian piece on there. Some are just going to be left blank for maybe later putting blank pages on, or tuck spots, or whatever you want to do. I'd like to use mine as some sort of sketch pad, inspiration pad. This actually started off when I got the idea of doing a junk journal. It started off as a nature journal, and I was going to fill it with flower heads, sketches, all to do with nature. But then I went through my rag bag, and some of these pieces were so nice, it's changed track, and I can't now get it back to the nature bit. But anyway, it really is taking its own way. Goodness only knows what it's going to look like at the end. I'm going to finish this bit here, and then I'm going to carry on, and I'll get back when they've all been done. So I'm just quickly going to run through the pages now. I've finished them, and I'm not going to make any more because it's quite thick. If you can see there are only what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures there, or 5 chapters. So first one is the one that I did totally by hand. There's no machine work on here at all. I'll tell you what, I'll push those out of the way. Right, so that is that one. Okay, now I didn't do any more inside because I'd like to leave these free for some plain paper, for journaling, for writing, for sketching. So if you think of these as sketches as well, so that's one. Second one, and I like this one. I like this chicken. So as you can see, I'd already started scribbling on this one. So that's the chicken, and I think this might be my favourite one actually. This little old chicken. And as you can see, the background is made up of all bits and pieces. There's not much. Oh yeah, I was just going to say there isn't much paint to be seen, but yes, I have some paint on the back. It's going to be left free as well. So I've tried to balance it with busy pages and plain pages where I can put some note paper, as I said, or some sketch paper just for ideas. This one, I don't think this one worked out too well. It is actually a tortoise. I like the greenery all around here. I think that worked quite well. That's some of your fabric, I think, Jackie. Was that your fabric? Or maybe not, can't remember, but I know that was part of the one of the challenges. That's another little quick literally 1 minute sketch, but as I said, I'm not too happy about the way that turned out, but hey ho, it's there. I think maybe I might have gone wrong by using these pinwheels. I'm not sure, might even be the colour. This is all vintage here on lace and some hand stitchery there. So that's a combination of hand stitchery and machine sewing there. Hand stitchery, also slow stitch if you prefer that term. Mushrooms here, quite like that. Although I can't stop seeing them as hammers. They look like little toffee hammers. So I think I might have to misjudge the shape of the caps on this, but some hand stitchery there, slow stitch and machine sewing. Tiny little silly sketch there. And this one, I'll start with this one because it's on the screen first. That one's a fish. Now I quite like that fish, and we've got some bubbles from some net. Penguin there. Now I think the penguin might work better close up. I'm not sure if it works on the screen. Got some lace here as well. Just a bit of applique here with some slow stitch or running stitch. There's my inspiration for the penguin. Machine stitch again. Plain page there. This one I like. I really like this one. I'm going to hide that one out of the way. Right, this one I really like. Applique down here. Machine stitch. Now this in itself was already made. It was already a lace. A lacy flower. But I've added to it. I've added the machine stitching and rows. If you see anything that's going round in a circle, then I put that there. So it's that bit there, machine stitch there, machine stitch there, and hand stitching all the way around here. Machine stitching here and some handwork. The green is actually felt pen, permanent marker, I believe it is. And it's set, as you can see on my finger, there's nothing coming off there. So I think that worked quite well. I have a little bit of wax crayoning up there as well. What have we got inside? A plain picture here. This I love. Okay. These were just the basic flowers here. That one was white, which I've coloured, I think, if I remember rightly. So anything round is what I've put there. Same here, machine sewing all around here. I like that one. I like that one too. No, I've got anything around here? No. Oh yeah, and a little dragonfly here. Thought I'd make a little bit of a scene here. Thought that might go down well. Dragonfly, machine and hand. All the stitches are basically stitches we've done so far. A pinwheel again, French knot, slow stitch slash running stitch, herringbone stitch there. And here, this is a pretty one. How many have I got in there? Oh, I've got 2 in there. This is a pretty one. So this is all hand sewn. That's really nice. And some of these have been machine sewn down. They haven't all been stuck down with the thick tape. They have been machine sewn down. And that one needed to be because it's quite heavy. My inspiration for one of them, it might have been that one. And this is just part that I've taken off from a vintage tablecloth that I did start cutting up some time ago. I've just dotted each of these with a purple marker pen like that, and I've changed the colour of some of these. Some of these green stalks here were lemon, and I've just coloured them, gone over them with green. And although this was made by someone else, obviously it's vintage. Don't think it's quite antique, but it is vintage. I found this and thought, this reminds me of that, so I put that there. And I don't know what I've got here sticking out. Little bonus bit, right? Okay. So another plain bit there. And then here, last but not least, the last page. So this fish was actually the inspiration for this. I've got them round back to front. Well, actually I got that one back to front. That is from, I've used that before, and that's from a piece of lace. And I thought that looked nice. That looked like bubbles from the fish. And I've dotted these with felt tip. Got some sequins going on there. There's the shape of the fish, the fabric fish. More sequins and beads there. A little bit of washi tape, which doesn't actually stick by itself, so that has to be glued down. And what have we got here? Oh yes, yes. So this is from a shop bought dress. It was a motif. My daughter brought it over last week and said, you can now cut this up, Mum. I know you like these, and it's a dress and it's got quite a lot of those on there as well. Oh my goodness, I sat and spent a good hour cutting out these. I've added to it, I've added some running stitch, slow stitch on the surface. You can see the blue there, hopefully. Done that. And beneath this, I've just taken what was on the table, odds and ends. You can see they're all odds and ends, tiny bits of scraps, and this lovely piece of lace. Once again, who's that from? I think it's from you again, Jackie. Yeah, I think it might be from you, these pieces, because your project was the last one I did, so I still have little bits of you on my table, including the lovely postcard which I'm looking at now. That is a seashell. I feel I have to explain that one because it doesn't actually look like a seashell, and I've used the inspiration, like the inspiration for that came from a tiny shell on the beach from the beginning of this video, but I also found a picture in a very old book that had been thrown out that I rescued, and it was due for pulp, and it's there, it's underneath here, but you can see the open bit here which is there, and the round bit here which is there, and the shape bit there. So it's a shame actually I didn't marry those two up, but never mind. Now the next thing I'm going to do, not finished, the pages aren't finished yet. Next thing I'm going to do is put them together. Now I have a couple of options of doing this, and there are some really good videos out there on how to do this, but I'm not going to string them through the centre because I think they're a bit too heavy. But not only that, some of this paper is very old, it's very fragile. This I believe is from the 60s, and that paper there is all from the 60s, as is this book. Now I think the book might be, I've got the book here, it's called The Pepper Children, and if I can have a look, oh, it looks as if I've taken the date out, but I'm not sure whether it was from the 50s. Oh, it must be, because there's an inscription inside, 1954, so that is from the 50s, early 50s or even 40s. So there we go. So there's a lot of fragile paper in there. It's also mixed with new, but I'd rather worry about the fragile paper like this as well. It's from a book of quotations. So I think it's best if I do something that is going to take the strain off the centre bits, and by putting holes there I'm just going to add to the strain. So I might do it I am going to do it Midori style. I'm going to use the string, unless when I nip out this afternoon I see something better. I did fancy using elastic, but I'm not so sure. The best thing with Midori style is that you can just keep adding to it. So in order to do that, I now need to find a cover. I mean, I could always use this, I suppose, as a cover. So I just need a little bit of time now to think about how I'm going to do this. If I'm going to do it Midori style, so I can pop in other pieces of paper. I found these two pieces of paper. I made these, or I added to them, I should say, some time ago, quite a while ago now, and I can see I've made this one with kitchen paper. If you can look through there and see bits of blue, that's kitchen towel, I should say, the absorbent salt, and that was wetting it with glue and paint and then putting it on the back to dry. So I had this, and it is really strong. And I also have this piece as well, and this is quite a delicate piece. This was a piece of lace I glued onto this piece of paper, let it dry, and then I painted over it in white. Now this is very pretty. It's almost like string, but it is actually dress fabric, I believe. So that is nice. Now I thought I might use these. So all I'm going to do is exactly the same that I did with the pages. I'm now going to take these two pieces and put them together. I've used the thick double-sided tape, okay, far better than the finer, the thinner one. Right, now I think I've married those up edge to edge. Oh, there, that was first time. That was okay, wasn't it? Right, now, oh, let's see, that should be stuck really well. Well, she says pulling the piece off. Right, I think the end bits might need a bit of attention. And I could just as easily have that on the outside, but I think that's pretty. That's pretty. I much prefer that one. So if I can just, oh, it's tough. And good job I'm not going to machine sew or sew around the edge, because it's very, very thick, and I don't think a hand sewing needle, an embroidery needle, or a machine needle will go through that. Wow, that is tough. But hopefully that's stuck down. I have to keep my eyes on that to make sure it is stuck properly. And if it hasn't, I'll just put dribble some PVA glue in there. Right, just going to trim it around the edge just a little bit. Around here. There we go. And I think that's fine now. Now I'm going to, now I've put these in to lots of 3. 1, 2, 3. So each signature has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pages. Okay, so that is just 3 double-sided sheets, 2 each side, or sorry, 4 each side, and that gives you the 12. So that's going to go in there, and I've done exactly the same with this. And I've already been playing about with the string, so this one will go in at the back. I think this one will go at the back, so I'll have 2 in there. Let's see how they fit. Yeah, they just fit nicely, so there won't be too much room actually for adding lots of paper and notes. But then if I do expand it, I can put this in maybe an A4 folder, a shopbook folder, or even make one. So the next thing I'm going to do is take this. Now I've got some string here. I love working with string, and the string goes very nicely with the hessian or the burlap, depending where you come from. And I think I'm going to string this round twice, and that's all I'm going to do. That's 1, and this is such an easy way of doing it. It cuts out all that messing about, making holes, and then you can always take it to pieces again to add some, or even slip, if you're lucky, if you're careful, slip something in there. It depends on you. You might have a better way of doing this, but as I say, there are videos out there on how to do all this very neatly, but this just suits me. It suits my style, all this. So I'm just going to make a little bow there. I really don't want to put it too much because it makes that fold in. I knew that would happen. It always happens. Right, so that's the first one, and I'm going to do the second one exactly the same. That's my daughter-in-law. how she manages it, but she always manages to do an extra ring. Right, there we go. So that's the first one in there. Right, so I'm going to put this in there the same. String it round. Ooh, it's going to be a big monster. A big jaws monster. So that'll go in exactly the same, and then once I've done that, I'll get back and I will start finishing off the pages. So I'm going to call it finished now. It's all done and dusted, and as you can see, I've put a string around there. I've put some little things that I found on my desk, the pins with beads hanging. I've added some washi tape, a little key, and this very, very pretty little gift tag. If I undo the string and show you now just what it's like inside. Now, I do hope you like this. I haven't actually finished it. I think I'm going to finish that as I go along and add bits to it. So, first page, no surprises. Nothing's changed very much at all, really. So, here we go. Just a quick look through there. Bits and pieces there. I've added a little flower there. I've glued that in place. And this is a very, very quick look through because you've seen it before. I've added a few little a pin on there. That's the centre of the first signature. I've done a little bit of drawing on the flowers there. I've added some gold pen work. This is from Louise Buller. I've put your name there, Louise, so I never forget. I've also put it down there as well, and I just think that is so beautiful. I just love it. And that's the card that I mentioned earlier on that was on the table. That's from Jackie, so I'm keeping those there, lovely keepsakes. And I think you've seen these before, but now it's finished, done. Just have a look over, and I'm quite pleased with it. There's a couple of pages that I don't like, and I will, if I use it myself, I will add staple some pages to it, I think, to suit my purpose, which will probably be note taking on sketches, maybe the odd photograph or two, but it is quite small, so it's not going to take a lot more additional information. I love this page here. I think that's really pretty, and this is the sort of thing that I do. This is a very, very old diagram that I found. It was a pattern that I made from a photograph of an owl sitting in a tree, and it's just been lying around for a long, long time, even through a couple of house moves. It's been there, so I put it there out the way. First time in years. I think I was even married when I did that, so that's a long time ago. And here we are, the back, and you can see. I hope you've enjoyed this quick and rare break from our normal style of work. Sometimes it makes a change, doesn't it, to do something totally different. Anyway, I do hope you like it. Please, please take care. If you haven't subscribed, have a look at some of the other slow stitch videos, and there might be something there you like. Anyway, until next time, bye.